This is a long-range chart of a daily chart of the euro. Okay, and I know a lot of people don't like charts and stuff like that. The last few days, from Friday and Thursday, and also today, the euro's been going up. And a lot of things is because of the rosy glossed over news, I'll call it that, about what's going on. And I think there's a lot of problems going on behind the scenes, and it's really not out in the news wires yet, where people are panicking. I think this euro is going to take a downward trend. Now, you could say the metals kind of went up today and Friday because of good euro news, but they also got a big push today because when Bernanke spoke, he voiced some concerns about the economy and the recovery rate, and things aren't looking so great. So almost some people were taking that as hints of quantitative easing or different types of policy that are looser monetary policy. So that helped the metals quite a bit today. That was really another reason. It wasn't just because of the euro. As far as the silver, silver's gone up quite a bit today. It's but if you look back here in the past, it went up a few days here. I don't really trust this rally, although it looks very bullish. But you know what happened? You look back here on this green bar. This is like a daily chart. There was the expectation that Bernanke was going to speak a certain way, and he didn't, and it went down the other way. So any kind of news can change this market right away. And I think there is going to be a lot of bearish news coming out, unfortunately, for metals. Now, the way I'm playing this is I am short on mainly silver and also gold, but I'm kind of like really quite a bit more with cash too. And I'm also still holding some commodities. So if the silver and gold take a big hit, I'll go up in money overall somewhat. But if I got this wrong, I'm not going to get killed, So it's like I'm kind of playing it as about as safe as I can, and because I don't like short silver. I don't feel comfortable with it. Although I think the general direction is downward, and generally my position is I am shorting silver. But I still got some of the silver stocks and stuff like that. So I only sold off one of them. So it's going to be a mixed bag whichever way it goes. I'll generally come out on top if this goes down, and if it goes up to like 35, that might be around my sell point if I screw this up. I don't think it's going to go up that high though. I think midweek or maybe even tomorrow we're to see a downward trend even tomorrow. As far as this I found interesting, talking about Europe's zombie banks. A lot of people have been criticizing that all these bailouts are leading to the creation of many zombie banks that are 100% dependent on the ECB, the European Central Bank, for finance. And these banks are afraid to provide credit to each other, or they're afraid to lend to businesses. They're just hollow shells being pumped up with a name in the front, So that's why you're seeing for all the last several months all these people getting out of the banking system in Spain and Italy and fleeing over to Finland, Belgium, France, and Germany in their banking system. Also, the European Stability Mechanism, this is not quite set up, but it will be. We'll only have available about 500 billion euros, and that's only big enough to deal with small countries, not Spain. And it's coming on more and more that Spain is in a hell of a lot more trouble than is being said. So that is where you might find the metals take a hit due to some kind of problems with the euro. And I know this was partly euro news that helped this up, but it was also the way Ben Bernanke spoke. Now I want to address something else about Mark Farber said about this, the physical storage of gold. And this is a quote from him recently in March. It should be a good quote. And I agree with this 110%. I read a lot of stuff about ancient Roman history, and that tells you a hell of a lot of what people will do. I mean, the stories have been played out many, many times a long time ago. Read Roman history. You'll know what they'll do in crisis situations. So he's remarking, and I agree with this 110%. populist political leaders vying for votes from the masses will opt to score easy points with the 90% have-nots at the expense of the haves, with draconian taxes on assets such as gold and silver held by the haves, not just through taxes on capital gains, but maybe even through a wealth tax on holdings. So they can come up with any rule there is. This is what the tyranny of the masses can do. I agree with this 110%. 110%. And it's even been used in a communist regime, like during the starvation that happened in Ukraine. They used it to attack the church. The church had gold, so what they did was they told they says, church leaders, you must give up your gold so we could feed the people. They use that as a scam. So he's very much on the ball with this. It's very correct. Now, what I want to point out is, where do you store this stuff? I don't understand about this stuff about storing it in foreign banks. Talking about the United States. And I don't have too much gold. I only have silver and palladium. And even gold I have, some of it is the ones in the slabs. I got them like a gazillion years ago. That are, they have they're graded, whatever the heck they are. They got the 60-something series on it, whatever the grading is. So it's not really, it's a collector thing. So those type of things will not be touched by the government using their, it depends on what the hell government person it is. Government person could do any damn thing on a local level, but those things are normally not touched by the government. Even Russia didn't confiscate collector value coins. That's what I kind of have some gold in that. I mainly have silver and palladium, and also platinum. And this is why I opted for some of those things too. Now I'm going to get on to where you can actually store gold, and I hope I'm not making this too long. Well, let me get on with this. This is this place, Lakota Bank. Now, I just showed a screenshot. That was my friend's company, Lakota Silver. Now, he doesn't have anything to do with this Lakota Bank, and he's not. I asked him about this. Well, I don't want to say what he says. He's not sure about it. He's got Lakota Silver. That's his company. That's a friend of mine up in New Jersey, near New York area. And but what's probably going to come up, and I'm thinking the Indian reservations are actually going to provide a lot of security for the Americans when it becomes feasible for them to do so. Right now, there is no big emergency, but you know what? When you walk on an Indian reservation, you know what? You just went into a sovereign territory. Rules change. Now, this Lakota Bank, from what I understand, really doesn't have anything to do with the Indian reservation at all. I don't think. But let me just put it this way: the security is very, very strong. They use this guard ID keystroke encryption software put out by Strikeforce, and then they also have to call in on your cell phone the PIN number, and that's so it's like really super secure. And supposedly, if you have physical silver in this place, it's physically guarded. Now, I don't know if this is I don't know how good this is, to tell you the truth, but I think these type of things are going to start coming about, and I think a lot of these things are going to start coming about as there's a need from the Indian reservations. Now, this is my friend's company here, the Silver Lakota Nation, and he's got, what's good about these coins, even though you're paying quite a bit of premium, on the silver itself, this particular coin is used in the American Open Currency Standard, and from what I understand, it's worth $50 in spending within the circle of merchants that accept this particular coin. So in a way, it probably is smart. Now, if they took this coin in Walmart and they took this coin on Amazon.com, I would be definitely buying a slew of them because they're getting a hell of a discounts. But I'm not, unfortunately, the American Open Currency Standard is not all over the place yet, but it probably will be, and that's one of the advantages of having these types of coins. But he's very much into this type of stuff. I did ask him about that bank, but I think the concept of that bank is going to be um, an idea that's going to start taking off. Like, in other words, even in New York State, there's Indian tribes up there, the Seneca Indian tribe, and there was a battle, kind of a battle, not a real battle, but a legal battle between Bloomberg of New York versus the Seneca Indians over the taxes on the cigarette tax. They wanted to put, I think, $4.25 tax on the cigarettes. You know, they were being sold, and, you know, they said they were breaking the treaty. So, actually, if Americans support this type of stuff, you're going to have your own secure place to put, you know, for gold. And the other thing is probably Canada is another place that's not bad. This place here, I did research before. I don't have an account up here, but this is the only place. If you physically go up there in person to TD Canada Trust, you as an American can get an account with them, then do your safety deposit box, and, you know, store some stuff over here. All the other banks, you have to have like a physical address in Canada. This is the only one I was able to find out that was a big bank, and this is a very solid bank. You can actually have an account with them, and, you know, even having Canadian currency is better than U.S. currency because the commodities are probably going to take off. So I think this currency is going to be a lot more valued than U.S. currency. But if you just actually want to have a safety deposit box out of country, this probably you'd be better off in Canada, I think, than any other place. And this is about the only place I know that an American, without having a physical address in Canada, can actually use this bank. And I researched this stuff before a while ago. I think this is a pretty slick idea. But you have to go up there in person and apply for the account. You know, but once you do that, you don't have to live up in Canada or have a mailing address in Canada or anything like that. Other places you do. Other banks you do. So this one's one option. Another thing is, I think Sprott's fund with the PSLV and a physical gold, that's not a bad fund too, for as far as electronic. But this might be better, you know, if you want to store a safety deposit box, you might want to use this bank, TD Canada Trust. Now, I think the Indian tribe thing is probably going to come on later on as this becomes more and more of an issue, because already, you know, it became an issue before somewhat, and they have the Lakota silver. But also remember that nobody ever confiscated silver, platinum, or palladium. Now, I also want to point out something else. If you use a little common sense, this is why I always like palladium, because I think it's going to be worth more than gold anyway. What about, you know, catalytic converters, right? What are you going to do? Confiscate catalytic converters because they're worth money? I mean, you know, you could store wealth, and, you know, if you have one of these Dodge Hemi converters, it's worth $621 recycle. It's going to keep going up because of inflation. So you can have catalytic converters, and, you know, so that's what I'm saying. They're not going to. I don't see how they could do anything with silver, platinum, or palladium. I can't see anything being done with that. Strictly gold. But I think the Indian reservations might come up with a good business, because I could see as any entrepreneur is going to come up with a business. I think there's going to be a lot of entrepreneurs coming up offering safe storage. But the Indian reservations got a perfect setup because they're not in the United States itself. And I want to talk about this term about, you know, I always hear Alex Jones talking about the mafia, you know, like talking about, what the heck, he talks about Goldman Sachs, or he talks about Alex Jones talks about the Federal Reserve, or he talks about the IMF, and he says it's a mafia, right? If you just look at the real definition, you know, there's a violent and oppressive history of government and its numerous corrupt and inconsistent rulers, especially in regards to the justice system, nurtured an atmosphere of self-reliance and cooperation amongst the people. Well, that sounds like the United States, you know? So basically, the mafia is the common people. It's not the oppressors, you know? And just figured I'd point that out, because I don't like Alex Jones saying these stupid things. He's an idiot. He's a big, I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I think he's running a scam there all the way. But I think the deal with these Indian reservations is the way to go. Definitely. Because once you're on this land, you are not in the United States. You're not in the United States. They can't go in there and just take something. So, like, you look how this is set up already with the Lakota bank. You know, I know they're not really they're supposedly, I'm not sure how they're associated with the Indian tribes. And I know my friend has Lakota silver, but he's not involved with Lakota Bank. He knows a little bit about this stuff, and I asked him a couple times about it. But you can almost say the Indians are what the mafia was a long time ago. And I think a lot of things are Hollywood. It's all bullshit. It is. It's total BS. But, the Indians have been suppressed in this country for, hundreds of years. They had their land taken away from them. They had treaties broken from them left and right. They were ripped off financially. There's all kinds of stuff. So, if there's ever a place that's going to find sympathy is with, people that want to hide some things in the reservation from confiscation and unjust laws in the United States, say they come about later on. These are probably going to be the entrepreneurs that are going to take up the slack. So the answer, in short, is probably going to come, the best place to keep physical gold, silver, platinum, and palladium is in the United States, not outside the United States. But it may be more within the Indian reservations and within circles of cooperation that have a common interest. And there's nothing wrong with that.